morning, everyone. I would like to talk about non-profits and how do non-profits use social media. I think this talk is for those who do not work in non-profit, and it's most for those who work in the private sector. I think it's important to see how non-profits seek money, because when you probably donate to a non-profit, it's too strong for me this morning. The workout was too strong as well. So I will stay here in the shadow. So, excuse me, there was a question in the beginning if there is someone who likes me speaking English.
I like you.
Yeah.
I like you.
You will come later. So, it's important to know how non-profits seek money. At first, because you donate probably to a non-profit, and it's important to know how this fundraising works and how to distinguish between good or fake non-profit and so on, and how to decide who to support. The second reason is that fundraising and community building is very strong topic in non-profits, and there are a lot of parallels you can use for your work as private sector marketers. So let's see. At most, when we talk about non-profits, you maybe imagine activism and social media activism, which is really strong. This is a great example of trolling of a Nazi party here in Brno. A girl, maybe you understand, but for those who do not, a girl was organizing some stuff for a Nazi demonstration, and she was trolled by a big group. It was really funny, and like her stupidity became viral. So it went all over the Czech internet, and a lot of people saw how stupid those racists are, which is quite nice success. This is another nice example of how the activism is empowered with social media and the viral trend meme. I especially like this one, IKEA style. So, but just a bit from the theory. Even Evgeny Morozov, who criticizes quite everything, does not deny that activism or activists are very much strengthened with social media. What he actually says is that it empowered the bad guys too, but that there is really like consensus on the great strength of social media for activists. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. As I said, we are going to talk about how non-profits seek money, because they need money for their job and for those people who work there. And it's not so small money. I'm not sure, but in the USA, the GDP that non-profits make is about 10 to 20% of the GDP of the USA. So it's quite a big money that go into non-profits, even in the Czech Republic. Fundraising, as I said, is a great topic, and I will show you some rules of fundraising and how do they relate to or correlate with social media. Important to say at the beginning, one of my friends, actually he's now head of the Doctors Without Borders, says that when you are buying shoes, you go to few different stores, check which shoes are really the best, and really check the prices and check how does the shoes fit and so on, and then you buy the right ones. And when you are supporting a NGO, you should do the same. You should see and compare different NGOs and really ask how do they use the money and what do they do. And as we will see later on, this is not so common to do that, but it's really important. And in the Czech Republic, there is a lot of fake non-profits. Really, NGOs that are not doing anything except fundraising. They are just these are NGOs that send mostly direct mails to mostly old people. So speak to our grandpas and grandfathers about that. They are very offensive and very like emotional, and they gather millions or 10 millions of crowns a year. There is no possibility to fight against them by the law, and a lot of non-profit lawyers and non-profit fundraisers really struggle to find out how to fight them. And the biggest responsibility is on donors. So please use this talk also to be better donors when you donate to a non-profit in future. There has been made some research 2 years ago, which shows some interesting data about fundraising and non-profits. So most people appreciate that there are non-profits in general, and about half of people donates to them. From this half of people, 25 or from this half, one half donates to one non-profit, the other half donates to more than one non-profit. So it is quite likely to get money from someone who donates to another non-profit. So this competition between non-profits and their donors is still a quite interesting topic. What do the people take as credible informational source? Is what beneficiaries and donors say about the non-profit and about the work. When people want to see something, what the NGO does, and want to understand how it works, they rely mostly on those two groups. The least, as the respondents in the research told, are least reliable are celebrities and the own NGO website. People expect the NGOs to be trustworthy, efficient, meaningful, and transparent when they are asked to donate. And people say that these are like the main expectations when I'm asked to donate. If the NGO is trustworthy, efficient, meaningful, and transparent enough for me, I donate to them. But about 71% of those respondents confess that they do not check where the money goes, and they do not ask, what are you doing with the money? So that's the great field for those fake NGOs who just spend it on some nonsense. This question: why did you not donate? Why do not people donate? Can you suggest me an answer for this? No.
They weren't asked.
Great, thank you. Have you seen the presentation before?
I did some fundraising.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's true. I was not asked at the right time and with the right form. That's the basic. Not that I have no money, not that I have I don't buy non-profits, and so mostly I was not asked. A donor has to see the non-profit 5 times, meet it before he donates. It has to they have to meet together on a offline meeting, online, in press, and so on. The nice thing is that with social media you can do those meetings by yourself. You can meet meet him by newsletter, meet him via social media on Facebook, for example. Meet him with your own website or like web campaign, microsite, and so on. So it's a great possibility, and it works too. First donation is the most difficult one for both, because the donor has to really think whether the NGO is trustworthy enough, and it's really difficult for both sides. So it's quite important for NGOs to keep the relation and to be in touch with those who donated to them. That's why a lot of Czech and not only Czech NGOs use those CRM systems. There's a great movement about Salesforce today, for Salesforce for NGOs in the Czech Republic, and social media are great for keeping those so-called tepid contacts. You have cold contacts, warm contacts, and those cold contacts are those who you talk to for the first time. And when I come to you and introduce you to a non-profit, and then you are a cold contact to me, and I will work with you, and I will try to impress you, to get some donation from you. Then when you really love the non-profit and donate to them and do something for them, then you are a warm contact with a strong relation to the non-profit. But those who just know the non-profit but are not going to donate to them yet, those are the so-called tepid contacts. And social media are great for keeping those tepid contacts and moving them to the next level. This is what I call fundraiser's dilemma. There are two approaches, and when I talk to Czech audience, I compare Hospodářské noviny and Bless. This is what's her name, Miley Cyrus and Sergei Rachmanin. You have two approaches. When you show emotions, when you are very emotional, when you show those like African kids that suffer very much, then you get a lot of money. When you the more you show, the more you ask your donors and your audience to think and to understand all the steps of what you have to do, and how the development cooperation, humanitarian aid, good governance works, the less interesting it is. When you see those two approaches, when you imagine this Hospodářské noviny and Blesk, which is a Czech tabloid, then you can see how big difference is in those in their revenues. So, but the dilemma is that non-profits are not supposed to be just cash collectors. They have some more responsibility, and they are asked to be to also educate the people somehow. So that's the dilemmas that every non-profit fundraiser has to somehow tell himself: am I going to do it like the Rachmaninov, which is a great composer, and but not very people know him, not so much people as maybe the Miley Cyrus, previously Hannah Montana. So and it's a great dilemma that you have to find some way in between. That's a specific thing Beth Kanter, expert from which American University, created the concept of networked non-profit. Concept of non-profits that can be in touch with their community. Maybe you know from funding that there are 3 basic groups of supporters: family, friends, and fools. This works in fundraising too. You rely on your friends and family at most, and then you wish to meet a fool who has a lot of money and wants to share it with you. And this possibility to be in touch is not only about money, about donors. It's also about volunteering and about the feedback, because NGOs are groups of people who believe that something that to do something is good, and they have to always educate people around, or tell them and be able to make the people around believe that what they do is really the right thing, and or to be able to hear that well, this is really not good what you are doing, and you should see it from another angle. I have 2 good advices at the end. First, as I said, when you are donating to a non-profit, don't stop thinking and really ask them what they are doing. Do not give money on the streets to those non-profits with those small cashbacks. And think about your responsibility of a donor. You are part of your ability to distinguish between good and bad non-profits is really super important. The second advice is, when you are volunteering, it's quite often that people from private sector ask me, hey, I want to do something in non-profits. I have some spare time that I want to share with one. So don't you know about a non-profit that needs a volunteer? There is no non-profit that needs a volunteer. In the time of crisis, a lot of people start working for non-profits, start volunteering, and now the expectations are higher and higher. It's not possible to come to Czech or Doctors Without Borders and tell them, hey, here I am. You are waiting for me, and now you are going to hire me, and I will work with you for free. No, that's not how it works. You have great probably you have great job, and you have your own experience, and you can use it for the non-profit as well. If you are from Czech, I will suggest you a micro-volunteering site, BabelCamp.cz, where you can check what the non-profits need from your daily job, and provide them some sort of volunteering for 2 or 3 hours, very short micro-volunteering service. And it's really important that people who work in the field of social media marketing and so on understand. It's really important for you to be able to support the non-profits in the way that you work. It's not important to build fences and paint walls in those non-profit offices, because there are plenty of people who can do that. So that was a short insight into how non-profits and fundraising work. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm free for your questions.